Something happened today that most people have no idea about. And I mean that literally. The vast majority of people alive right now went through their entire day without knowing that the universe just recalibrated the direction of their life. Today, July 26th, the nodes of destiny shifted signs for the first time in 18 months. The North Node moved into Aquarius. The South Node moved into Leo. And this shift, which will remain active until March 2028, changes the collective compass for every person on this planet, not in a vague, general way. In a specific, personal, this is what your soul is being asked to do. Next way. If you've been feeling lately like something about the direction of your life needs to change, like the path you've been on is no longer quite right, even if you can't explain why, what happened today in the sky is the cosmic explanation for that feeling. Stay with me. This is one of the most important videos I've made. Before we get into it, if this channel has been helping you navigate this extraordinary astrological period, hit like right now. It takes 1 second and it helps this reach people who need to understand what happened today. And subscribe if you haven't. What's coming in the next 30 days on this channel is directly connected to everything I'm about to tell you now. What just shifted and why it matters for your life specifically. What the nodes of destiny actually are. First, what are the nodes of destiny and why do they matter so much? The lunar nodes are not physical bodies. They are mathematical points where the path of the moon intersects with the path of the sun. And yet, they hold immense symbolic weight. They speak to the soul's unfolding, to the way life guides us forward, and asks us to loosen our grip on what has become too familiar, too tight, too identified. In astrology, the nodes move in pairs, always in opposite signs. The North Node shows you where you're being called to grow, the direction that is unfamiliar, sometimes uncomfortable, but deeply necessary for your soul's evolution. The South Node shows you what you're being asked to release, the patterns, identities, and comfort zones that served you once but are now becoming limitations. With their 18 to 20-month cycles, the lunar nodes show where destiny calls and where you must release your outmoded ways. Plan for karmic shifts, major life changes, and alignment with your higher purpose, depending on which zodiac signs the lunar nodes are visiting. And here's the critical piece. The lunar nodes are also where eclipses happen. Every eclipse for the next 18 months will fall on this Leo-Aquarius axis, which means today's shift doesn't just change the general direction. It sets the stage for a series of eclipse portals that will accelerate this evolution dramatically. The first one arrives in just 17 days. What the Leo-Aquarius shift means. Now let's talk about what this specific shift, North Node into Aquarius, South Node into Leo, actually means. Because this is where it gets both deeply collective and deeply personal. From July 2026 until March 2028, we are invited through the axis of Leo and Aquarius. Leo is the self. Aquarius is the collective. Leo is the heart. Aquarius is the field. Leo is creative expression. Aquarius is future vision. Leo is the individual flame. Aquarius is the constellation. For 20 months, the fateful North Node in futuristic, community-minded Aquarius urges us to innovate, collaborate, and design smarter ways to live, work, and care for one another. Meanwhile, the South Node in Leo calls time out on grandstanding and ego-driven theatrics. But here's what most content about this shift misses entirely. With the South Node entering Leo, we are not rejecting Leo. We are not moving away from creativity, joy, self-expression, play, visibility, or the sacredness of the heart. We are, however, being invited to release the distortions of Leo, the places where the need to be seen becomes louder than the truth wanting to be expressed, the places where individuality becomes performance. In other words, the shift is not asking you to stop shining. It's asking you to ask a different question about why you're shining. Not am I being seen enough, but is what I'm expressing actually serving something beyond me? That question, sitting with it honestly, is the entire work of the next 18 months. What this means for your life right now. Here is the part that is most personally relevant, and the part most people will never read about because they don't follow astrology closely enough to catch a node shift. Since January 2025, the North Node has been in Pisces, wreaking havoc in many people's lives, repeating old patterns and relearning lessons they thought they already moved past. As the North Node moves into a new sign, things are going to get a whole lot easier. If the last 18 months have felt like you were being pushed to confront something, karmic weight, emotional patterns, relationships that kept surfacing issues you thought you'd resolved, that pressure is lifting today. The chapter that has been asking those questions is closing. This shift happens on the same day that Saturn stations retrograde in Aries, which is the cosmos asking us to release one whole way of being and step into another with intention. The energy is significant, and you will feel it. And here is the question. The node shift is now placing in front of you, not abstractly, but in the specific circumstances of your actual life right now. Where have you been performing instead of contributing? Where have you been seeking recognition instead of seeking meaning? And what would it look like to take the gifts, the creativity, the heart that Leo has been developing in you, and offer them to something larger than your own story? That is your North Star for the next 18 months, and it activated today. What this means by rising sign. The most precise way to understand how this node shift lands in your life is by your rising sign. Because your rising sign determines which house Aquarius and Leo fall in for you personally. Let me give you the key for each one. Aries rising. North Node activates your community, friendships, and future networks. Your purpose is expanding beyond personal achievement into collective contribution. Taurus rising. North Node activates your career, public role, and life mission. A professional direction that serves something beyond personal ambition is calling. Gemini rising. North Node activates your beliefs, philosophy, and higher purpose. The wisdom you've gathered is ready to be taught, shared, and offered to a wider world. Cancer rising. North Node activates your shared resources, transformation, and deep intimacy. The next 18 months ask you to trust what you cannot control and share what you've been protecting. Leo rising. North Node activates your partnerships and one-to-one relationships. The growth is not in your solo expression, but in who you build something with. Virgo rising. North Node activates your daily work, health, and service. The question is whether what you do day to day is actually serving the world in the way your soul intended. Libra rising. North Node activates your creativity, self-expression, and authentic voice. Stop creating for approval. Create for the truth that only you can express. Scorpio rising. North Node activates your home, roots, and foundation. The collective needs you to build something solid from the inside out, starting with what feels most true at the core of your life. Sagittarius rising. North Node activates your communication and immediate community. The ideas you carry are ready to be shared, not performed but genuinely offered. Capricorn rising. North Node activates your finances, values, and material world. The question is whether what you're building is aligned with what you actually value, not what looks successful. Aquarius rising. North Node is moving through your own sign. This is your 18-month initiation into the fullest expression of who you are becoming. The identity you've been growing into is ready to step fully forward. Pisces rising. North Node activates your spiritual life, inner world, and connection to something beyond the visible. The contribution of the next 18 months may be invisible to the world, and more important than anything you've done publicly. Now here is what I need you to understand. And this is the part that changes everything. What I just described for each rising sign is the general direction, but the node shift doesn't land in a vacuum. It lands on top of your existing natal chart, interacting with your natal North Node, your natal South Node, your existing planetary placements. And that interaction is what determines how this 18-month chapter actually unfolds in your life specifically. And here's the urgency that most people are going to miss entirely. The node shift today opens the same Leo-Aquarius story that peaks with the solar eclipse in Leo on August 12th, just 17 days from now. The eclipse doesn't introduce a new story. It supercharges the story. The nodes just opened today, which means you have 17 days to understand your personal node activation before the eclipse amplifies it dramatically. Moon. Reading gives you a free personalized reading built around your exact birth date. It shows you where your natal north node sits, the direction your soul chose for this entire lifetime, and how the new collective node shift is interacting with that. Personal. The nodes of destiny shifted today. Most people have no idea. You now do. On July 26, 2026, humanity's collective compass recalibrated. The North Node entered Aquarius while the South Node moved into Leo, beginning an 18-month journey that transforms every zodiac sign's relationship with ego, community, and destiny. Tubics. The question the universe is now placing in front of all of us is the same, and it is not a small one.